office and they are sold to the media. How? Juzi Kasmu aliuliza, you cannot ask me, alisema, you cannot ask me about what next when I don't know about now. Mimi nashangaa sasa vile wadau wanaanza kupanga stories za 2027. And then there's this consistent question, what is the strategy? Wase, 25th June we started the strategy. And we have been very consistent. And our strategy has 3 prongs. The first prong is unity. Tumekuwa very united. Yani hata kuna wasi hatukuwa tunaonangana hapa kwa hii streets eye to eye, but now we have one clear goal. Good governance, accountability, and for people to be prosecuted for all the crimes they've committed, both criminal and civil. Wale wasi wamejaribu kubaiwa, tumewatupa, pia tumewatema. And that's very important. Sita mention majina ni kuwapea platform. Na saizi kuna list imekuwa shared hapa kwa social media. Every single person who's been bought during this period by Gava was 530. Wadi platform wote. The second thing, we have been very consistent on communication. I mean, strategies, that's my work. And in our effective communication, we've known what our next steps have been. We've stopped to look at our successes. What have our successes been? Because they are buying on. I'm very fatigued emotionally. I'm very fatigued physically. That's very normal, by the way. I feel dejected. Today morning, I woke up and told some of my close friends, na feelika niko down kabisa. Man, until Ruto akarelease your cabinet yake ya pili. Nikajiambia we inject more. So the important thing that we have maintained effective communication, and we must maintain effective communication. The other third thing is that najua saizi kuna msali bonga mchana akisema ati sai we become rowdy, we become violent. No, we are not burning, we are not stealing, we are not destroying, we are not going to lose human life. Hakuna msatadili kwa mkono yetu, because that's the tool that the masters have been using. We cannot use the same tool to bring down the oppressor. We have to think about other alternative tools. So violence cannot be our term because it's unconstitutional, it's against our statute, it's criminal. So at no particular point can we go out of what we already have, as we have statutes and we have a constitution that guides us in terms of how it is that we act. And this has been our, by the way, hii ndio imekuwa tulia yetu. Arumesikia obuda Professor Kibonga akasema at least that's a thing, because hakuna kitu out of the ordinary tunaitisha vitu kwa constitution. Now the other thing, and by the way, nimoteki alanamu hapa, power to you bro. Mainstream media wanasema you cannot shoot the messenger. So unafaa kushoot nani? Mwenye anapeana message, which is CC, peaceful protesters. You know, what were they saying? I mean, you also must actually choose a side. And the side that you must choose is the side of justice. Is the side of human rights, safeguarding of human rights. Amwezi sema ati leo kwanza mereceive na IG. Mshoona peaceful protesters wakireceive na IG ama ni mabullets. Unawapea story. And then you guys, from yesterday night until today, if it was not citizen journalism, hakuna kitu umesema kwa media about what's happening in Zimmerman, what's happening in Githurai. Ni saizi tu Larimado jana ndiye alikuwa zima. Kidogo sasa hivi kuna video yake amisha anasema before mayutu alikuwa na dance, kidogo wanakuwa dispersed na mabullets. Mko wapi nyinyi? What stories are you? And then you keep platforming this regime. You keep giving them time. You're the same people who this government told that watacha ku advertise na nyinyi kwa sababu you are anti-government. Your work is to be objective. Your work is to be impartial. Your work is to report the news as it is. It's not to distort facts. Why are you distorting facts by giving one regime, less than 1,000 people, a huge platform to propel their lies and to cover up their crimes? Why? Where is the objectivity? Alafu then when you start seeing them, they're coming for kina Alanamu, wanaanza kusema they are being funded. No, all of us who work, even you, if you work in healthcare, at one particular point umekula paracetamol imenunuliwa na mzungu, ama imenunuliwa na some person. Even vaccines zile tunapea watoi, Gavi, who gives Gavi the most money? So nobody should tell you here we are bought. No, then that means your healthcare, your education is bought. Somebody else is paying for it. So we can't use that. So when they come and then you platform them that way, and then you give them airtime about that. Munapea singolei platform akamkudanganya wase. And then it's trips ndio tunaenda tunatafuta. Tuna realize he was actually a beneficiary of their funders. So that cannot be the thing. You must remain objective. Now, let me tell you guys, if you don't do this now, we don't make our country right now, the next regime will use the same tactics which have been replicated from the Moi era until now. Kuna msee amesema angalia skodi sahi ya Ruto ameweka sahi. Hiyo ni ile skodi ya baba aliingia nayo. Hiyo ndio from Kanu times. Moi before he died he said Kanu is going to rule for 100 years. It just keeps changing form. Inajita Azimio, inajita ODM, inajita Ford, inajita Kenya Kwanza. It is still the same tactics. And that's why violence for them becomes the one tool to be able to reduce protest. It instills fear. It makes people feel like, you know what, we live at their mercy. I need people to know we have 50 million against motherfuckers who are less than 1,500. That's a fact. That's a fact. So we must be able, these progenies of Moi, by the way, let me tell you, in the last tweet I wrote, I told Baba how he has massacred the constitution. But I said this is the end of us looking up to this man, personally, old man. And I say this as a kid who grew up in Kibra, where he was my MP for more than 15 years. And I said, that's the end. And the end meaning, and this is one of the things, even if we rubbish what Professor said, is this is the beginning of a new era. It's the beginning of defining what politics look like in this country. It's the beginning of defining what accountability looks like according to Article 6, Article 10. It's the beginning of what we want the governing structures to look like for this country. I heard somebody say that you must organize in a political party. Why do we need to organize in a political party? Right now we are cleaning house. Unawezaje kuja saa hizi unaanza kupanga cabinet hapo na ma TV ukitoa ukiweka masofa set na chini bado hujaosha. Clean the house first. So we are cleaning the house. And you know the beautiful thing about we have a structure in which we can clean this house. So na bado ndio tumeanza. Now, someone is also now, cumulatively, we are asking about strategy. So I said about 3 things that you must maintain. You must maintain unity, effective communication, and anchor every action that we take on the rule of law. Already we have multiple approaches. Now what's next? See, we already have peaceful protests. We have social media, because now mainstream media may decide inafanya vile inafanya. We have the citizen media. Recording everything. Civic education ile may happen saizi in the last 1 month has not happened since this country got its independence. Unapata juzi mama mboga amesema mimi nimekaa mko barabara mtu wangu ameniexplainia nikarealize umse alikuja kwa soko hapo Githurai they went wale wanashoot sai wase walikuwa Githurai hapo sokoni wakiambia hasla. Sasa jana walienda kwa mahasla kwa mada. They went the one who went on campaign on the back of hustlers has gone back to the hustlers to kill them. And we must ask ourselves that every time there's a protest, why do they target poor people? Why? First say education, healthcare, security, maji, food. Yani ana struggle it hand to mouth. Alafu anarudi hapo atakuja tena hapo wachape ruabe. Angalia mafala wa boda. Mimi doki, mbiti yako hapa. Anakusho wanapatanga accidents zingine mbovu kwa barabara. Wanakaa mhosi, mnaanza kuambia unajua ni aje, this is a compound fracture we need a plate. Gava inuangi plate. Wewe unafaa uende kwa familia yako the plate is more than 300,000. Mtaita harambe ngapi za watu wa boda ngapi? So jana tunaona they are the ones who are bought and looters, you know, hao ndio wanakamwa kwa magoons. It is very wrong. That means kuna places that tujapopulate na tunafaa kupopulate vizuri. So the other strategy is to think about where are the professional bodies for these people. Wako wapi farmers, wako wapi watu wa boda, wako wapi watu wa mtaani mayouth. Hapo ndio pia tunafaa kuingia. Na hizi vitu azifanyike ati sijui phase 1 phase 2. They happen concurrently. Tumesema ni aje Thursday tuko hapa na hapa tunaenda celebrate our heroes and heroines. Tuko hapo saa 2 tu bado tuko na watu wa boda. Hapo tuko na farmers. Hapo tuko na wamother. Msia amesema ati you know this voter suppression is going to be very tricky for us to be able to choose the leaders. See, our parents have ID cards. Me, I'm a millennial, I have an ID card. So how are we leveraging? What is the low-lying fruit? The low-lying fruit is to make sure Stella Bosire votes right. The low-lying fruit ni kukaa kwa paro wako na maanko zako na cousins. Mwambie ni aje kabla sisi hizo ma IDs yetu sahi watakuwa na voter suppression, you people must vote right. Najua watakuja kwa line, waambie vitu zingine wakupatie ruabe. Mimi sikwambii uchukue ruabe, msichukue ruabe, lakini pesa ijai kwa mbaya kama wewe ni maskini. But end up pale make your own decision. Chukua hiyo dona ukitoka umrudishie umwambie shika pesa yako. Mimi nimevote independently. You must be able to do that. As I finish, whatever method we use, be it social media, be it physical, be it when we write op-eds, you know, kuna wale si unaandika tu vi bold. Kuna msema amesema hapo hizi tumada akatumada si wote. More than 70% of us are young people between the ages of 15 and 40 in this country. Hizi tumada wakamada si wote. That space ile uko nayo, we must use multiple approaches. We are creating history as a country, and we are anchoring it on democracy. Na msiasi wauzie fear hapa at you are going the Sudan way. And I felt very uncomfortable when you use Sudan as an example as a Pan-Africanist. I mean, we all have to be uncomfortable when an African country bleeds. So we are creating history as the first country within the continent that will push out a regime, a rogue regime, but will push out anchored on the law. That we are not going to do anything, part after shortcuts, atuta watu, atutafanya nini, atutaiba. Apana, we will not tell this country, we will anchor it on the law. And then when we objectively look at this constitution and say, ni wapi tulikosea, ni wapi hatuna terms of reference, kama saizi, madre saizi inaanza, msiwa madre, na which is true, which is a fact, iko hapo mbele. Msi ako na corrupt, ako kwa hii, undanyi saizi, nini undanyi, not undanyi, what's his name, Oparanya. Juzi meona media highlight. Wako na economic crimes. Unapewa. Sasa kazi yetu ni si kuchange your constitution, ni kuenda kuireform. Tutaandika hiyo time yetu wenye tusha clear house. Saa zile unakuja, hii constitution ilitupatia a broad base. We are going to break it down into who can be a cabinet secretary, who can be a member of parliament, who can be an MCA, who can take up leadership in this country. We will define them. Lakini where we are right now, Bana say we have a perfect structure. We have a perfect structure that will get us to the next point. Msasi kuenjoy ati saizi tumetoka ati what next? We're already there. Saizi tuna hold space moja, hakuna politician anaweza mobilize wase hivi. And so the other thing wameshindwa to infiltrate again is the power of our voice, which is on social media. And the beautiful thing that we are doing in the social media is asina wasema fact. Ona kama unaleta story yako tunakupea tu facts. Nimecheki msee leo anaitwa aje mother wa kudance. Akisema we are sexist. Me, I'm a feminist. All of you know that. Asema we are being sexist by asking about the current minister for defense who has been not current nominated. Me say sexism is appointing someone who does not have the qualification. Sexism is tokenism. You're giving someone a docket that they have no qualification about. If you compare that person with their counterpart in other countries, then you ask yourself, Bana, what is that? That's sexism in my world. Sexism is being able to subvert the constitution. Sexism is not recognizing that the will of the people is the will of the people. And we are the people. We are the people, wasi. We are the people, tafadhali. Msiwai sawa hivyo. Hata mkidozi leo na tulale ya tulie. Msisahau we are the people. Na wase, by the way, wameogopa. Mjiorezo leo wameogopa. Alikuwa amechapa kifua akaona manzi hawa vijana hawa relent. Akadecide sasa ni aje anaendea mzae. Leo nimeambia mzae point blank. Nikamwambia mimi I've supported you. But well, let me tell you, you have massacred, you have miscarried, you have broken down our constitution. That's a legacy I'll remember you for. That's a legacy we'll remember him for. Hakuna story nyingine ati msee ataanza kutuambia 1992, 19 fact that those years. It is how you finish. It is how you finish. And he's chosen to finish when 60 plus blood of our comrades is on the ground. When mothers are burying their children prematurely. Hakuna mother, hakuna parent antakuzika mtoi wake. Every parent says, I want my child to bury me. But they've made mothers bury their own children. They've made fathers cry publicly. Buda Rex adilia. Anasema mke wangu amemandwa lakini atikuwa kara walimshoot bado anatembea. Mama Eric alisema nini? Alisema Ruto, si una watoi. Never know peace. Msiogope kuongea. Msiogope. Kuna ule comrade alisema we will die eventually. Mbiti na mimi doctor, we will die eventually. But the other way in which we have to ask ourselves, are we dying in dignity or are we dying without dignity? That's the thing. And so, by the way, we are already dying metaphorically. Sasa zile unakama hapo unakosa mpaka za cabbage. Wewe landlord kila siku anakufungia gana kifuli 3. Uwezi peleka watoi wako shule fiti ama uwezi pata kosa unataka. Uwezi access capital kwa mabanks kwa sababu pia wametake over banks. You can't do that. You cannot do that. And if you cannot do that, then fundamentally, you are already dead. Wewe unamkanga tu when living dead. When you go, you are a ghost. Hakuna vile unaweza niambia ati we are trying to live, right? What are you living? Una live nini saizi? Na wana loot. Una live nini saizi? Uko na mseka kama DVD na kama anaitwa parliament anasema ati ilikuwa senate ama alikuwa wapi? Anasema ati hapana tujauza JKIA alafu JKIA inatoa statement. Si wajinga wazee. Alafu you know the brilliant thing is that you are all educated. Formally or informally. Manze tunashikanisha. Kama tukishikanishi, kama Kimuzi ashikanishi law, ataniambia Bosire hebu ni interprete. Kama mimi sishikanishi mambo za account, mimi nitatafuta soko analyst. Mambo za business, mambo za economy. Kuna msee kwa hii movement anaelewa hizi vitu. Mkikwama kwa healthcare mtakamniambia ni aje bosi. Sasa hebu tuanpakie shift. By the way, acha nisianze story ya shift. Mkidhani JKN ndio take over, mnafaa mwanze kujiuliza kwa nini sasa Mbadi hili imeangushwa? Kwa nini sasa NHIF imeangushwa? Kwa nini shift? Na kwa nini ukiangalia most of those appointments in the chairs of those subsidiaries which are for shift, which right now are unconstitutional, zilikuwa zimepewa wasi wako affiliated to Orezo, the former chairperson for example for Amako. Anda kudunini uko digital, kuna competency gani? Alafu ile kitu mimi napenda ni our facts are, mimi usinipe job jili mimi niko na nyap, mimi ni dem. Ama kwa sababu unani tokenize, it's tokenism. Nipatie job ukijua naweza chapa hii job. Alafu nipe terms of reference. Terms of reference zangu ni A B C D F G H. Let me deliver. And then nikwe appraised. Mimi sijui kwa nini hawa sio wakisha ku appointed, they don't go back to that parliament to be appraised. Hiyo ni job gani? You must go back to the people who employed you. The people who to appraise you, your performance. Aki appraise performance yako anauliza A B C D F G H. But because we already are rotten from the top, we cannot even put such accountability structures to be able to check out on people and say, this is a good leader, this one aende home. That is the country we want. That is where we are heading. Wacha nikunywe maji. Asante. Kimuzi, back to you.
All right, thank you so much. So I'll give the next speakers in this order. Wamengoja sana.
Milan. Milan, our check out. There's something I want to do for the next 2 hours or 3. And nimesikia chenye Bosira amesema. Actually, 2 days ago, or it was 1 day ago, I hosted the brother to Shieni. Eric Shieni, if you remember Eric Shieni, who was shot outside parliament. And one thing he said, alisema, do it for my brother. Alisema, hajaiona kitu kaa hiyo. And one thing, anasema chenye tu, alikuwa happy naye peke yake, ni that the brother never struggled. Ilikuwa headshot. Like anasema, don't relent kwa hii fight. Just do it for my brother. I really wish I'll play, nitatafuta that clip I played for you. It was so sad kusikia hiyo. It was so sad kusikia akisema, what will I tell my mother? Yeye ashajua Shieni ameenda, and hajui chenye ataambia madhe. Madhe anangoja your brother ako wapi? You know. So, chenye Bosira amesema, it's so, watu wanaona it's from a point of radical point of view, but it's no longer a radical point of view. We are just being realistic, but we are being realistic in a hard manner. That's the language of hardliners. Only ya tunajua. Thank you. Let me sit the mic. I'll be off for 3 hours. Kindly give mostly small wigs. Jua ndio ako na voice pia sana, and they have ideas.
Asante sana Kimuzi. Sixus, nimecheki 6,000. Uko mkono yako iko juu, unaweza bonga. Alafu utafollow na Carol na X Holding.
Yeah, so I want to say this. First of all, we'll win this war if we are able to see through the bullshit that is happening right in front of our eyes. So that is if we decide to filter what information we are consuming, and from who, when, why, and how. Why am I saying this? I heard Shanky mention the likes of these content creators, social media, whatever. I was giving a good example of Caliph Cairo to a certain group, and I said Cairo went out to protest because there was a motor vehicle tax that was introduced, which was going to affect his business directly. Hawa watu wa TikTok walitoka because kulikuwa na some tax with digital content creation or something. So it angered them, and they left their houses to go out there and fight. And after the finance bill was dropped, most of them walirudi their comfort zone. Now here there is me and you who believe there is hope for a better country, a country that can perform better, a country that has potential. And I actually say I'm an investor in this country, and my returns will be good governance, no corruption, no nepotism, no tribalism, no recycling of leaders. But we've been given an option to keep recycling leaders each and every time, and the political class is taking us for a ride. What do? We are not going to give up. We should wake up and go and fight. Personally, I'm not giving up. Yesterday, I was roughed up by goons along Outer Ring Road, kama nimeenda out for Maandamano. Lost my specs, which I got today. And this war is not going to be won by one day. People who are now coming to give up, say, go get allies, go get what. When William Ruto realized that we do not have allies, he started purporting lies out there. Ford Foundation, whatever foundations, the opposition, they have cornered up to Uhuru Kenyatta, who doesn't even want to respond to them. And this is a point you should understand. This man is worried about whatever he's fighting. And the moment we decide to look for an ally, they will corner us. They'll go to those allies and they'll say, these are the people who are funding this movement. And the moment they get us to that point, it means we have lost. But if we stand strong and now face our big problem, and this goes to Kimuzi, this is our big problem. We are not uniting as a people on this app to go and project this information to the silent majority, to the majority of the people who have given up. There is something Professor said here, and I agreed with him. William Ruto was sending fear, and that's why he goes to Githurai Zimmerman. He's sending fear to these people because majority of those people, when who are talking 25th, they came from Thika Road. And akishaona hiyo mbogi ya Thika Road, when he kills that mbogi anaona ametuua. So he's sending fear so that people should not come out and say polisi wanaua. Now this makes us stronger. We should wake up. Kimuzi, go team up with all the possible people who have voices on this app, and we decide we will hold one major space. Pride tuweke kando. If it comes to this country, there is no pride. Kuna watu huku, they have a saying, tuamuke na tuseme, now it's time to wake up and go liberate this country. It is high time we have to unite.
Someone speaking, namsikia?
Namsikia.
It's high time we have to wake up. And the moment we wake up, that is when we will realize our full potential. Imagine Kenya will be hosting AFCON, yet we don't have a stadium. My friend Kowino said somewhere, Gor Mahia, 20-time KPL champions, they don't have a stadium in Kenya. Yet Simba have a very good stadium in Tanzania. We are playing our games in Malawi. And who do we have as somebody in charge of sports? Murkomen. Is that enough? No. Oparanya has only built a road that goes until to his mother's door in Wester, where the mother sells changa, which is an illicit brew, a type of alcohol that is killing millions of Kenyans. Joho is a drug dealer. Let us not even start mentioning other people. We are not ready to take this bullshit. I'll tell all Kenyans right now, this is the time. Now is the time to wake up. Wake up from your sleep. You are not fighting for Kim. You'll get power. You'll get that energy to go out on those streets. Don't sleep. Hata hii maandamano tuache kufikiria that ni Tuesday peke yake. Tuamke basi tukamp tao. If William Ruto wants to kill all the 50 million of us, let him kill all of us. Let him come and kill all of us. Me personally, nilishasema, I'm not afraid to die. And I'm saying this, I'm responsible for the words that I'm saying here, William Ruto. I will mobilize many youths to make sure that they see through your lies. If we keep on listening to this guy, he's a strategist who knows how to play his cards. And I'll tell you, right now he's thinking about 2027, whereby he has killed the opposition. He will not have any strong opposition going to those elections. But we should stand up and give him a challenge that will take him home early in the morning. And we are not taking him home in 2027. Before this year ends, William Ruto should be on his knees when he's being prosecuted and being sent to Shimola or committee or ICC. Because when we are done, we will go down to each and every corruption case that has happened in this country. When I wind up, I'll tell you, there is somebody who told me, I'm winding up and say this, there is somebody who told me in the morning, why won't we partner up with these newspapers so that we can print information yenye itafikia watu? And this is the case, this is the story he told me. Even Aden Duale himself doesn't know about this Maandamano that much. His KPIs for June and July was GSU, the Kenyan army walistopisha Maandamano Nairobi town. Why? Because the PS wanawafikishia information yenye si mbaya. The PS are on these places. They come here to listen, then they come filter the information, wanapeleka. Hata information inafika huko juu pia ni ya uongo. And if we now start getting through these people, mtu akifungua gazeti hivi, research will get calculated among the biggest people who are saving their money with IMF, and they're still selling those products to us here, local. Anyways, I'll tell you lastly, wake up as Kenyans and fight. Thank you.
Asante. Carol Otieno, and then we have Holding. I think you have new speakers. Milan, maybe we have like 100 people who've requested. So if it's possible, ukame bonga tu tuite msemgine abonge alafu we consolidate our thoughts together. Go ahead, Carol.
Okay, thank you for the space. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so me naongea kama ordinary person. Mwenye anaonanga whatever is going on, I'm not able to participate in the protest because bado niko na watoto wadogo. And for that matter, mimi tu swali nauliza. Sisi ndio tunaangalia tu morals, like we want to do things according to the constitution. But something funny, the president anasemanga is for the way we know, the way we in the right way, like kama wenye walikufa polisi, ule polisi mwenye aliwa ule nje ya parliament hajashikwa, hajafanyiwa anything. So my idea is huyo polisi kiwana kwa streets, si hata sisi tumuue because already alishaua. We are waiting for the government or the IPOA to take the role or whatever they do, but so far they do nothing. Wanasema sijui witness waende watoe witness zao, but unaona hakuna kitu wamefanya. So mimi